attacked terrorist positions in Deir ez-Zor. Al-Jaafari says the Syrian government has completely fulfilled its obligations in offering humanitarian assistance to the Syrian people. The Iraqi army eliminates scores of ISIL terrorists south of Tikrit.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Irado Krikorian from the News Center in Damascus. In Deir ez-Zor, Syrian Arab army units have taken control of Dghim farms, eliminating a large number of terrorists. The military operation by the Syrian Arab army started at dawn today against the defenses and reinforcements of the armed terrorist groups. The infantry opened the battle with sudden attacks targeting the terrorists along several axes. Syria's permanent representative to the UN, Dr. Bashar Al-Jaafari, has said the Syrian government presents 75% of the Syrian people's humanitarian needs despite the economic blockade and sanctions imposed, and that it continues to meet its obligations providing humanitarian aid across Syria. In a statement following the adoption of UN Security Council's Resolution 2191, which focuses on Articles number 2 and 3 of Resolution 2165, on the issue of entering and providing humanitarian aid to Syrians, Dr. Bashar Al-Jaafari affirmed that the Syrian government has fulfilled its obligations in providing humanitarian assistance and continues to do so. He said the ambassadors of Jordan, Luxembourg and Australia at the UN Security Council, who called for the adoption of this resolution, are not following up events on the ground in Syria. He pointed out that Hamas's plan to allow assistance access into Syria has certain political objectives. He called for observing facts on the ground in Syria and refraining from ignoring what the Syrian government is doing at humanitarian level to help solve the crisis.
Security Council Resolution 2165 was able to deliver cross-border assistance to 5% only of those in need. We are on board. We have been on board in the field, in the field of distributing humanitarian assistance. All what we are asking these people to do is to open their eyes, to see the realities, the facts as they are on the ground, to be cooperative, not to ignore the Syrian government. By the way, they cannot ignore the Syrian government, and they are lying. They are lying when they say that they are distributing humanitarian assistance through the cross-border operations without the consent of the Syrian government. They are lying. They are lying because in accordance with the resolution 2165, we have set up all together a mechanism called Gentleman Agreement, which was an integral part to the 2165. The Gentleman Agreement says, and this is an agreement endorsed by all the members of the Security Council and the Secretary General and the Syrian government. The Gentleman Agreement states that the Syrian government should be notified 48 hours before sending the humanitarian assistance through the border.
Welcome back. Iraqi troops killed more than 30 ISIL terrorists during clashes with them following an ambush in Tal Al-Dahab south of Tikrit. Hours later, a terrorist explosion by a car bomb hit the city of Tikrit, killing scores of civilians. In the capital, Baghdad, an army unit foiled an infiltration attempt by a terrorist group into the Ministry of Interior, wounding one terrorist. The ministry's guards opened fire and wounded 3 gunmen driving a car. The elite Iraqi forces took control of Al-Dahab area in Al-Anbar province, killing scores of terrorists, some of them foreigners. Iraqi fighter jets eliminated 45 terrorists in Heat province. Meanwhile, yesterday, the Iraqi Ministry of Human Rights announced that ISIL terrorists killed 150 women in al-Fallujah who refused to be part of what is called sexual jihad. However, the Iraqi army eliminated dozens of terrorists in different areas. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani stressed the necessity of cooperation among the countries of the region to face all challenges. Rouhani pointed out during his meeting with Iraqi Parliament Speaker Salim Al-Jaafari that bilateral relations between Iran and Iraq are improving in all domains, renewing Iran's support of the Iraqi people against international terrorism. For his part, Al-Jaafari stressed the necessity of coordination between the two countries in order to combat terrorism in the region. Through being aware in advance that the USA will use the veto against the draft resolution at the UN Security Council, the Palestinians have been determined to present such draft which calls for ending Israeli occupation of all the Palestinian lands occupied since 1967. The Palestinian delegation has headed to the UN Security Council, relying on the support of 135 states in the world, which have recognized the state of Palestine and the Palestinian people's right to establish their own state. Palestine's representative to the UN, Riyad Mansour, said some amendments were introduced into the Palestinian draft resolution that has been submitted to the Security Council with a view of encouraging the states that have responded to deal with us positively, he added. Mansour said the draft resolution was submitted in blue at the UN Security Council in a bid to negotiate with all the Council's members openly and officially. The draft resolution underlines the need to reach a just, permanent and comprehensive peace in 1 year, and that full withdrawal from the lands occupied in 1067 will be put into effect with a period of time not exceeding the end of 2017. The European Union had recognized in principle the state of Palestine in a non-binding decision adopted yesterday, which was prepared by 5 political blocs at the European Parliament and which was adopted with a majority of 498 votes. Finally, in occupied Palestine, Israeli settlers supported by Israeli occupation troops have stormed into the squares of Al-Aqsa Mosque from Al-Maghariba Gate, provoking students and worshippers. Meanwhile, a number of Palestinians have been detained during storming-in operations in several areas in the West Bank. In Gaza, Israeli gunboats opened their fire in the direction of Palestinian fishermen's boats, inflicting on them material damage. With this, we conclude our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Karun Kyupchan, but after a short break.